Hey, everybody, welcome to Monsters Lounge. I'm Jeni.
I'm Tressa. Hello.
Hello. That's it.
We're adorable.
Oh, you are. Oh,
Stop
pshaw.
it.
Goodness gracious. Listen, you guys, and you, Tressa.
Yeah. What's up?
um, we have to say a special thank you to Thomas and Tabitha. They were listening to last week's show. They grabbed the sound clip that we had. If everyone will recall, back to 2 shows ago, we had some weird stuff going on with the sound. We had what I believe to be some sort of voice communicating with us in some fashion. But
Absolutely.
the noise was very, very disturbing to me, especially when I listened to it later at loud volumes, like right into my ear. It was a little creepy. But anyway, they isolated it, and we have a clip. So, Tressa, would you care to share?
Okay.
The ultra terrestrials are looking for are individuals who have high PSI abilities, high psychic abilities, telekinetic abilities, because it makes them easier. It makes it easier for them to communicate.
See, that just gets wilder to me.
I
Every
know.
single time it gets yeah. So
Yep.
thank you, Thomas and Tabitha. We really appreciate it.
And listen,
Also,
Thomas, Tabitha, there's an email waiting for you in my drafts. I just keep forgetting. I'm really sorry.
yeah, I
have a bad
finally sent
memory.
one that just said thank you so much because I got tired of waiting.
Yeah, sorry.
You had a
You're
lot
doing the
going
Lord's
on.
work.
There were things that were happening for you. So
Yeah.
it was last weekend anyway. But tonight we get to learn a lot about something that actually neither of us are very proficient in, right?
Auto mechanics.
Yes, we have an auto mechanic on the show tonight.
Fantastic.
Supernatural auto mechanic.
Ooh.
He works on ghost cars.
I don't.
No, that's not at all. We have somebody who's going to talk about dreams and working within your dreams and interpretation and spirit guides and all of the things. Okay. Now I'm gonna try this really hard. Machiel Klerk.
I'm not gonna
did
try.
the best. I did it the best earlier. Klerk is a social entrepreneur, a licensed mental health therapist, an international speaker, dream worker, and published author. He has been a mental health therapist since 2006, which is amazing because that is a tough job, and currently has an online private practice. He is fascinated by healing traditions and earned a master's degree in counseling psychology at Pacifica Graduate Institute. He has traveled all over the world and studied many cultures' healing and dream traditions, in specific, the African traditions, as South Africa is his birthplace. His book, Dream Guidance, published by Hay House, is currently available through Amazon and Barnes & Noble. He has given lectures and workshops in Europe, South Africa, and North America about dreams and psychology. He has also vocationally been guided by dreams when he founded the Young Society of Utah and the online organization Young Platform as a result of a nighttime dream. So, will you please help me welcome Machiel?
Yay! Well, thank you, Jeni and Tressa. Nice to be
Welcome.
a monster in your lounge.
So nice to have you.
It's nice here. It's very blue. I
Teal.
like it. Teal.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
I learned that I'm also an auto mechanic.
Who works on spiritually troubled cars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it happens. Maybe. Probably not.
I don't know. Does it? Christine. I mean, that was a
Fact.
troubled car. That was fact. That was a nonfiction book. How? Okay. So in the were you interested in the dreams before the mental health, or did the mental health come first?
The mental problems came first.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
As they do.
Yeah.
it's this old notion of the wounded healer, and I think most healing professionals and therapists are wounded, and then they need to find some medicine for their wound. And in my case, I hadn't dealt well with the grief of losing my father at the age of 10. He died at that age, and so in my early 20s, I had to figure out a better way of being with the grief and the depression that followed it. And I stumbled upon the works by Carl Jung, who had written extensively about dreams. So then I started to look at my own dreams and reconnecting with my dreams that provided me guidance into the future, but also a connection to my father again. I think that the deceased live on the other side. At least the dreams seem to indicate that. And so that is where it started. And then after that, all the other things followed. The mental health and the therapy and the book, etc.
Okay, so I mean, all of it is kind of amazing. So when you talk about something like dream work, can you sort of define that for me and the audience? Mostly for me, though, because the way that I see it, the way that I imagine it is that I write down things that I dreamed about, and then someone goes and interprets them for me, right?
Well,
but I feel like it might be a little bit more complicated.
Well, that's a classic notion, and I think most people, even that do dream work, do dream interpretation. Yet, a dream is really a world that we visit. So, if you go back to a dream experience you had recently or once upon a time, you will notice that you were in an environment having an experience, and that those are two very simple observations, but they're actually rather profound in their implications. At night, we find ourselves in a world, and in that world, we have an experience. And we can do all kinds of things upon waking with that experience. First of all, indeed, you have to write them down because otherwise they disappear. That's what dreams tend to do. But then we can either interpret them, but we can also build relationships with the dream figures. We can make drawings of the dream characters. We can get in touch with the energy of the dream that helps us change in some form or fashion. So there are many ways of being with a dream, or maybe even saying befriending a dream, that extend beyond the classic notion of interpretation.
The thing that just struck me more, I think, than anything was the relationships with the figures in the dreams. So are they like entities, individuals, what have you, that you have ongoing relationships with?
Yeah, because the dream is a world that doesn't disappear when we open our eyes. It's either you can see it as a stream of consciousness that exists next to this world, or like in the indigenous culture, you have this world and the other world, and the other world is coexisting to this world and somewhat intertwined. And at night, we just access that other world. And in that other world, well, and a deceased loved ones live. Our spirit guide can live there, or will live there. Maybe he lives in other worlds as well, but can visit us in dream. And some characters we can have a shorter relationship with, others longer, but they don't disappear when we wake up in this reality. So we can continue to build a relationship. And to make it a little bit more practical, last night I dreamt that a kind of a dog, a pit bull, was very close to me. It was very frightening. And so I wrote down the dream. And then I went back in the dream experience and I said, dog, you terrify me. And I saw the dog startled a little bit. And then I said to the dog, is there anything you want to share with me, or why are you so close to me? And the dog communicated in some form that I needed to get a message, that I didn't get it. And then I asked, what is it that I don't get? And the dog said, you need to choose. You need to choose for life, and in a way of be brave. When life gets scary, engage with life. And so that's a form of dream work that I did this morning. That's a little bit different than the classic interpretation, in which you can build, and this was probably a short-term relationship or encounter that you can continue to do even while you're awake.
Are these? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, and the message was, to me, made sense. So it was also, oh, okay, this is helpful for me.
Do you think that the bit characters, sort of like that, like the brief relationships, are sent along by like your guides?
Yeah, could be, or by the larger awareness that's even beyond the guides, or yeah, I'm not sure who sends them, but but the encounters are meaningful. That's for sure. They're there usually with a purpose, and therefore we can benefit from dream work, because dreams have an innate purpose, and they are supportive to our life.
Tressa, you look like you're going to say something.
Yeah,
I
but
had the
then you looked
same
like you were
feeling.
going to, so I was like, oh.
No, go ahead.
Going back, like, maybe I missed it. So the plane of existence in dreams, are you saying that is where past loved ones could just dwell and live? Or is this a third place where you can meet up with spirit guides, past loved ones, etc.?
Oh,
Yeah, it's a great question. What it appears like that there are multiple other worlds. Like you
Okay.
on your show, you've probably talked with people that have an out-of-body experience, and that is another world than this world. It's slightly different, but it still has a lot of features of this, what I usually call dense reality. When people have near-death experiences, which is again another world, then you have the dream world, which is just another fraction or manifestation of another world. And all these other worlds seem to have some interconnection. It's not that they're in separate buildings. They're all coexisting right now, and maybe different frequencies that we can visit. And dreams is one of them.
I like that a lot.
yeah, I do too. It kind of fits in with that vibrations and frequencies going through. We've had somebody on who talked about stacked time and different frequencies going through time, and like that sort of travel. I like the idea that I don't know, dimensionally we're like that as well.
Yeah.
So when you say that you went back and like spoke to the dog, right?
Yeah.
Like, did you go back into, how did that work? Because you woke up
Yeah.
from the dream, you wrote it down, you looked at it. Did you go back? Like, was it, please forgive my ignorance on this, but was it like I got to go take a nap to get back into this dream?
No.
Chat?
It's a great question, and it's something that you and the listeners can do tomorrow as well. What you do is first you have to write down the dream, because dreams disappear otherwise. And then because dreams are worlds, you can from the waking state, you can just close your eyes and notice, go back in the dream. So I went back in the place where I was with the dog, and I started to notice, am I inside, outside? Oh no, I'm it looks like I'm outside. The dog is here. And then I felt as if I was back in the same space. And the moment I feel that I'm back, but you're of course not literally back, that the back is in the here and now. And in the here and now, I feel the presence of dog is real. And then I can engage in a conversation. And then what dog says has also a surprising quality. Then you start noticing, oh, dog has some autonomous quality in what it says. So it's a relatively easy step. You just need to lean into it a little bit. It works in the same way as a flashback. A flashback is someone in extreme forms has been in the war, and they hear a sound, and boom, they're back.
Mm-hmm.
They're not literally back in time. The memory comes back, and the memory presents itself as a world around them. And once that happens, you can work with that memory. If you make it even a step further, you never work a dream, you really work the memory of the dream. You can work the memory, especially once it becomes experientially again a world.
So is this more of like a meditation going back in, or is this actually a dream when you go back in?
No, it's closer to meditation.
Okay.
But in the meditation you re-access maybe the same, you enter that same frequency again where dog lives.
Yeah.
Just like some people, maybe you've done it too, have talked to deceased loved ones. You change your consciousness a little bit so you can talk to them or say something and have a sense that they're there and saying something back. It's that same, it's a similar practice.
How would you get started with that? Because you say like it's a relatively easy thing to do, but I don't know that I would be able to do it.
Yeah, it's probably if you and I had a little bit of time and we would do it 2 times for 5 or 10 minutes, you would get the hang of it.
Okay, so it's like a practice, and once you get into it, it's a little bit. It is more easy.
It is really relatively easy. And so if people wake up tomorrow and they have a dream and they choose a dream figure they want to talk to, just sit still, let the dream figure come back either with your eyes closed or with your eyes open. And then when you see the dream figure, ask it a question and just wait till it starts moving. And it will start moving by itself. You just have to trust it.
I'm going to need everybody who's listening right now, including Tressa and myself, to try this over the next couple of days here and let us know how it worked out.
Yeah.
Or don't if it goes really, really poorly. I don't know what's going to happen with your dreams, but...
Actually, let's do that when we come back from this break.
The Oregon Bigfoot Festival and Beyond is back and bigger than ever at Oaks Amusement Park, Saturday, June 29th. Meet Bigfoot hunters like Ronnie LeBlanc of Discovery Channel's Expedition Bigfoot and Paranormal Caught on Camera, and paranormal investigators like me, Dave Schrader of the Holzer Files and the Paranormal 60 podcast. Join us for a day of family fun celebrating Bigfoot, ghosts, UFOs, and everything beyond. You never know what you'll find. Don't miss the Oregon Bigfoot Festival and Beyond, Saturday, June 29th at Oaks Amusement Park. Get tickets today at OregonBigfootFest.com. OregonBigfootFest.com.
The Oregon Bigfoot Festival. Oregon Bigfoot Festival.
That is going to be a really good time. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. So Tressa and I will be at the Oregon Bigfoot Festival in Portland.
Right.
Coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
So
come
see us, and then maybe stop by and see Dave, and
if you have time.
Yeah, if you have time. But we're the important part here. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just want to throw that out there.
Obviously.
Clearly, we'll do a little dance.
Regardless.
All right, so we were talking about everyone telling us your dreams and all of the experiences. So Tressa and I are definitely going to try it, and we'll report back, obviously, or not, depending on how that goes. Okay. Go ahead.
Real quick. So I used to vividly remember my dreams almost every night. And in the past maybe 6 months, nothing. Like once every, 2 months or so, I'll remember a dream. I mean, this is pretty basic, but do you have some tips to remember the dreams that you had? I know like writing them down immediately when you wake up, that's going to do it right then. But I'll wake up and not even remember dreaming.
Yeah. So in your case, it's curious that you were such a dreamer and then it stopped. So it's almost that I would want to ask, what is anything happened around that time?
No. Anyway, did you have a question?
No, not that you have to answer, but maybe there was some experience that you got afraid for or that you didn't want, so you closed the door a little bit to dreaming. That's possible. But
It is possible.
Ooh.
And then in general, for people, it comes down to set an intention, get a pen and paper, put it next to your bed, and then write down, even if it's just a feeling. I don't remember anything, but I have this tight stomach, or I feel elated in my chest. Just write down, I feel elated in the chest, and dream, I look forward to tonight again. And then in the intention, just say tonight, gosh, we haven't been in touch for a while, dream, and I would like to rekindle our relationship. If you come, I promise I will write you down. And I would love to see if there's anything that you want to tell me. That way you befriend the dream again, and the dream seems to show the face that we show it. So if we're interested, it comes closer. If we're not so interested, it seems to take a little step back.
So if one were exploring their spiritual side and their spirit guides and whatnot, this would be a good practice for them to get into, right? If someone were new to this and sort of working on,
Jeni.
I'm just throwing that out there, just,
No, totally. It's your spirit guide will show up in dreams, but most of the time it won't take on its regular form because you won't recognize it most of the time. So it shows up as a beloved teacher, maybe someone you admire, a sports hero that gives you some suggestions or instructions. And benign helping figure is very often your spirit guide dressed up in a way that you will understand what it's coming to do. Because if it's just a regular figure, you might just overlook its importance.
So how do you know the difference in between like your guides coming to work with you and those sort of secondary characters, like with the example of the dog, right?
Yeah.
Like just sort of a passing through kind of,
like,
hey, what's up kind of guide. But because I'm assuming that they don't always show up as like your gym teacher.
Right. You if you work with them longer, you can say, spirit guide, if you show up as my beloved teacher, I'll take the message even more serious, and kind of establish an communication. You can tell it also things so that it knows, well, if I do this, then Jeni or Tressa or Machiel knows that it's important. So that is possible. The other question that you asked, it's that there's the art of dream work, and it's a little bit more difficult. Is it a temporary figure? Is it a longer term figure? It's not always easy to distinguish, and as long as you get the help, it's okay.
Okay. Now you talked about I believe not right here, but you speak about your ancestors getting in touch with you.
Yeah.
Through your dreams.
Yeah.
And do you mean ancestors as in like not just like recently passed loved ones that like you're missing, but like way back when ancestors?
Yeah, I mean all of them, but especially the deceased friends and loved ones and family members.
Okay.
And people that pay a little bit attention to their dreams almost always report that from time to time, grandma comes by or dad visits them. Or
man, I keep waiting for those. I would like my dogs to come back and visit, please, and my grandpa and maybe my grandma just to say hey, maybe leave some fried chicken or like an apple pie. The grandma, not the dog.
Yeah. Oh, but you can put it out. You can say, Grandma, it would be so enjoyable and fun to see you again in the world of dream, and also not have too much of a time frame to it. Just say, I'm gonna be attentive to the dreams, and if in the next while, of course, rather sooner than later, but if you come by, that would be a delight. And sometimes they do, so not always, but you increase the chance that it happens.
How would I be able to tell if I just planted the idea in my brain that like I wanted to see my grandmother, and so I sort of brought that out
Yeah.
myself as opposed to her actually hearing me out in the nether and
Yeah.
swinging by? Is there a way that you would be able to differentiate between the two things?
Yeah, usually it is in the feeling quality. So it's not so much like it looks different. Sometimes the dreams are different. I notice that when deceased loved ones visit me, it's always in the house where I am staying at that moment, and yeah, that's what it does. And if I'm, let's say I'm back at the university and I walk through the corridor and there I see my dad, then it's more likely that it's symbolic for a father figure. But so that's how it is in my case. But it might be for, we all have our own ways. But in the feeling quality, you will often have the idea like, oh, this really felt like grandma, or grandma said something surprising, something you hadn't thought of, you wouldn't make up, or um, that's usually how you distinguish.
All right. Tressa, you do look like you're going to say something.
Oh, sorry. So tell us about the South African rituals. You
Ooh,
said
yeah.
that you implement them in your dream work. I don't know if
Yeah,
I'm saying that right.
yeah, because rituals well, I was born in South Africa, and so I traveled often back to South Africa, and then I started visiting the indigenous shamans. They are called sangomas there, and they would throw the bones. It's a way of divinations, and and in indigenous traditions, they use a lot of ritual, either for healing or connecting to ancestors or connecting to the other worlds. And so there's a whole set of rituals that we can do to improve our relationship to spirit guides. And in these traditions, it's very often a set tradition, like a certain dance, or you take a certain herb. I have here some mpepu, which is a South African herb that you burn and then invite ancestor or spirit guides in. But really, what seems to be the working ingredient in these rituals is that you set an intention, that you put in effort, that you communicate a heartfelt message to the other world. Like maybe you write a letter to grandma, or you make a drawing for your spirit guide. That would be a ritual in itself, and that grinds a little bit this reality with the other realities. It's as if that allows us to move up in these frequencies to meet them, and we can all do that. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I think
Yeah.
that the overarching theme to, I don't know, every aspect of growth is the intent. What's your intent? What intent are you putting in this? And how is it going to benefit or affect whatever you're trying to, I don't know,
Yeah.
Accomplish?
words. Yes, thank you. Jeez.
Well, you see it also in lucid dreams. Lucid dreams are dreams in which you know that you're dreaming. So you're in the dream and you go like, "Oh my gosh, I'm in a dream," and then you can engage with the dream world, and you see that there are several dream reality creating principles. Of one is intent. You set an intention, and that then the dream will shift. And other elements are expectation, your thoughts, your emotions, willpower. They all create they create a dream world. And as these worlds are somewhat created similar, also this world responds to intent, expectation, willpower, beliefs, emotions, and
Is there a difference between, I'm going to call it a dimension, like the lucid dream dimension and just a regular dream dimension? Or is it just your consciousness of how you are observing things?
Yeah, it's pure that it's the same world. In one, you know that you're in a dream, and in the other, you actually don't know you're in the world of dream. That's one of the crazy things of dreams, where we go to bed in wherever we are, let's say in New York, we fall asleep and we dream that we walk on the streets of Paris. And our body still lies in bed, but our psyche or soul, mind walks around in this other world and doesn't know that we're still in bed and takes that world that we're in as totally real. And then we wake up and then we take this world as very real, and then we go to bed, sleep, and then we take the dream world as real. So we always, even people that are in out-of-body experiences or near-death experiences, they take that world for real. So every world we're in, we take for real, and we have a tendency to forget the other worlds.
Isn't there something about butterfly dreaming that it's a human?
Yeah. That's an old Chinese story where a man wonders whether he is dreaming that he's a butterfly, or that he's a butterfly dreaming that he's this Chinese man.
Yeah. I always like that one. I always like that one a lot. Back to the question, just out of curiosity, in the lucid dreaming versus just the regular dreaming, is there, because I know that there's a lot of sleep studies and study of brain waves and activity while people are in various sleep states, is there any sort of difference in between the lucid and the regular?
Yeah, and your frontal lobe has the activity goes on. So it goes off a little bit while you're in the dream, and so in the brain you can see that the different parts of the brain light up. It's actually you're just more aware in the dream state. So when you become more aware, certain aspects of your brain lit up, even if you're in the same reality. In this reality, you can also become more aware of, oh yeah, I did this because I was actually really angry with you, and therefore I was snarky, and and now I know I did it. So you become aware that you do these things.
Yeah. Is there a change in brain activity when you start to realize like those sorts of like combinations?
Yeah, if you become there are certain your brain starts lighting up in different areas when you become more aware, or you have more compassionate thoughts, or
Interesting. I had no idea. Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, that's going to be like another whole evening of looking into it for me. But anyway, back to the dreams. Now, your soul can also try to send you messages or communicate with you via dreams. How is that different?
Real quick, I just want to go off of that real quick. Is your soul, in Jeni's example, is that like your higher self, like your enlightened soul, or is this a completely different idea?
No, it is. I think people have a little bit different ideas about it, but it's maybe a cluster of energy with your qualities and your talents and the things you're meant to bring into the world, / elements of your higher self, but maybe not only the roots in the heaven, but also the trees in the heaven, the roots in the ground at the same time. Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. I totally hijacked your question, Jeni.
No, I want to hear more about that. I don't. What do you?
Well, to go further on it, I think that that there's a collaboration with our soul. So we're what you see in dreams is that we're actually not alone. There's a host of characters that come with us into this world to help us deliver our gift, deal with our wounds, and become more loving to ourselves and others. So it's not a solo project. This is just the front man of a larger psychic system where all kinds of characters work together to make this happen. And we can build relationships with our spirit guide, with our soul, with the temporary dog, with grandma, to help us live this life in a more fulfilling and meaningful way. And there's many ways you can do that. Dreams is just one way where you can observe these characters. Really intuitive people can do it in other ways, and I'm not saying it's the only way, but it's just a good way, and it's also a nicer thought to know I'm not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Next time you go into the office of your boss and you need to confront him, that you know, oh, let's take dog with me, or let's bring grandma with me. Now I feel more confident to address the issue.
Oh, that's wild. I love that. Every guest that we talk to, I think, at least in terms of, anything along the psychic line, there's always like, you got this whole team. And I'm like, I love this idea.
Jeni, I'm going to let you ask your question again without hijacking it right after this.
Are you troubled by strange noises in the middle of the night? Do you experience feelings of dread in your basement or attic? Have you or your family ever seen a spook, spectre, or ghost? Then Haunted Magazine issue 41 might just be for you. In issue 41 we have The Enfield Haunting, an interview with Dave Schrader, Danny Robbins, and lots more. Out now in stores, app stores, and online at bit.ly/Haunted Magazine. Remember, don't be normal, be paranormal.
Here's the problem with jumping back into a topic. Or getting diverted from a question. I either come up with like 15 more different questions,
well, do
or
one of
I
those.
completely forgot what the original question was.
I'm so sorry.
Your soul telling you things in the dream, or being able to work on your soul through the dreams, I believe, is something along the lines of what it. Can you interpret that? Because it just sounded like gibberish to me.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And so there's a very old technique to ask your dream a question before you go to sleep, in order to trigger a dream response. And it comes back in any tradition, whether you go to the indigenous Africa, the Asclepian tradition in the Greek times. I heard the Dalai Lama talk about it not so long ago. Ask your dream a question for support. And that can be any question that's on your mind. So it must be an relevant, emotionally relevant question. But if people want to try it tonight, they can ask a question as, how can I be more loving to myself? Or what's one type of food that's good for me to eat? Or anything that they want to ask. But the soul or the dream likes to help. And you can trigger that help by asking a question.
So your soul is literally telling you what would be good for your soul.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yes.
Good for you, soul, looking out for me.
Yourself.
Exactly.
Selfish.
Despite the trouble that life is, there's also a guiding element in life, and we can connect with it. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes we have a problem, and it's not how do I get rid of the problem or overcome it, but we try that first. But then it's how can I better relate to this disease, or how can I better relate to this problem that I have?
Not fix it, but work with it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not a genie that just gives you whatever you want. So you have
Well,
to
I'm not
figure-
interested then.
Nope. And good night. Oh boy. Okay, so just to give myself and I'm sure, our listeners at this point, but suggestions, we had the suggestions of drawing down. I don't even know what that means. Drawing the figure that you wanted to speak with or see or what have you. Can you give kind of other examples of some rituals that people can try out right beforehand, right before they go to sleep?
Well, if you go before you go to sleep, it depends on what you want to achieve. And I've once had an artist who was blank on what wanted inspiration for a painting, so he put a blank canvas next to his bed as a kind of a ritual for inspiration. There was a man a little while ago who had been married, divorced, wanted to date again, had been thinking about his question and said, well, probably the best thing to ask is, what is my biggest obstacle in dating? And I thought, if I know the obstacle, I can solve it. And so he drew a heart with a big question mark and put it next to his next to his bed. So those are little rituals that people can do that are symbolically relevant to their question, that seems to favor a dream response.
Does meditating before you go to bed, does that help sort of line you up for success, I guess? Clear you out a little bit?
Yeah. And somehow there's a Buddhist tradition where the monks will meditate on compassion just before they fall asleep, because they've noticed that state will continue to be present during sleep. So the feelings we have before we fall asleep seem to drip over into our dreams. We're very anxious. We might have more anxious dreams. You watch a horror movie, you might meet a monster. You meditate on, maybe you want that.
Okay with that.
And so meditation is a good way. And you just can do that 2 or 3 minutes. Doesn't have to be too long.
Fantastic. Tressa, I think that's what you should try tonight. Just do the meditation thing.
Listen, you're not the boss of me, but okay.
I am the boss of you.
No, you're
You
not.
sign the contract. Anyway. I know. All right, so we've got kind of our basic idea for a ritual and intent before we sleep, and sort of what we're looking for. And then the dream, I'm just going to say like dream journal or piece of paper with which to write that down.
Yeah.
What else do we need to know before we go to sleep, before we start to try to do this?
Yeah, that you can go to sleep, just wait for a spontaneous dream, and then you don't need to do all the rituals. Or if you have a question, write down the question, make it one question at a time, make it open-ended. So just like if you would do tarot cards or some other form of divination, it's more like, what would it look like for me to go to New York? Or some open-ended question. Write it down, do your rituals, meditate in bed, sleep, dream and sleep, write it down. And then when you, after you've written it down, you usually have to work the dream a little bit. And the method works really well, but what I've seen is that a lot of people look at a dream and think, that's weird. And that has nothing to do with my question. And then they discount it. And just imagine it as if you are visiting a wise old woman that has been around for millions of years and knows about your life and is there to help you. And if you ask her a question, she will give you an answer. And so just treat the response as, this is an answer from my spirit guide or the divine or the larger awareness. And one way you can do is, instead of asking, what does this mean? Ask the question, what is happening? And then you can see in the dream what is happening, and you get a pattern. Let's say I ask, what does it look like for me to go to New York? And I see a plane crash. I don't really need to ask the question, what does a plane mean? I just notice, oh, what's happening? Well, very simple. The plane is falling out of the sky, and that is a bad thing. So doesn't feel good. So you can go to the emotion of the dream, the experience of the dream, and that very often gives you a sense for it. But the question is, what is happening? And another one that you can play with, actually where we started, is more the question is, who is visiting? Oh, dog is visiting, or crocodile is visiting. And then I can work with crocodile.
I want that one.
Yeah, you do.
You'll get the dream that is best for you, because we visit at night the most skilled therapist, supporter that is possible, and it will tailor a dream that fits our need and our experience in the most marvelous way. And it's more that we need to start learning a little bit the way the dream communicates. But we'll visit the wise old soul of the world in our sleep.
Go ahead, Tressa.
Are these questions we're asking after we wake up, or are these dream questions that are being asked while you're dreaming?
Well, if you're dreaming and you become lucid, you can ask all kinds of questions.
That was my next question, because
Yeah.
I was like, that sounds like a lucid dream. So
Right. Now this is after you've written it down. You can
Okay.
ask what's happening, who is visiting, what is the experience.
perfect.
Yeah.
So crossing over, like with your work as a therapist, are there specific, and again, this is just absolute
Mhm.
curiosity, but are there specific mental issues that do very well with working with dreams as well? Is it more therapeutic for, say, somebody who deals with anxiety, or somebody who deals with like obsessive compulsive sort of scenarios? Is there anything? And again, totally just out of curiosity.
Yeah. No, it's a great question, and no one ever asked this one. So, yeah, I don't know if there's one that is more favorable, because dreams do, there are a host of different dreams that makes dream work. If you don't have a set intention with the dream, makes dream work a little bit of an art. Sometimes the dream is more like a psychological X-ray that describes what's going on, and other times the dream is more prophetic, and again another time a dream is more anticipating what's going to happen tomorrow, or the energy to bring into the tomorrow. So there are different dreams, and I've yeah. So far I've seen dreams work with many different aspects, because it's very helpful for a person who's, for example, depressed, to know what kind of depression they are, what kind of landscape are they in. One person I know walked in a forest that was completely burned down.
Ew.
Yeah, so that's a certain form of a depression that is different than being locked up in a dark room, or being usually it's a little bit more overwhelmness, but when the ocean comes with a big wave over you, that's probably more an anxiety dream. But that gives a sense of what kind of landscape you're in, and then you can learn to navigate through it.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I was just thinking too, like with somebody with depression, like just the idea that you've got that team there too would be extraordinarily helpful. Like, oh, hey, I've got people.
Someone's got my back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Yeah, and you in the dream there will often be some place that provides medicine. So if you can connect to the part in the dream that contains the medicine, you can get out of that horrible stuckness that in depression is. And so there are elements, energies in the dream that will help you if you can connect to it to move through out of it.
Oh,
So
that's
the
interesting.
medicine would be more of like a message. Explain the medicine to me. The
Because I
dream
literally just
medicine.
thought about like a dream pharmacy that you go and you're like, Tylenol, please.
No, your own body is the best pharmacist, and it expresses itself also in how the dream world is created. The dream is really a state of consciousness that manifest in the dream, and so for example, the dream with the man in the forest. If there was on certain moment in one of his dreams, there was in the forest a little plant that was green. So new life was coming up, and so when he started just to draw that plant, he got in touch with that greenness, and so a little bit of aliveness came back to him, and he could start feeling that in his body. And then when you practice, feel it in your body. Where do you feel it? Notice it. Then that helps to shift, because very often it's difficult to think yourself out of a depression.
Oh yeah.
But then he saw hope.
Yeah, and then he saw hope and he felt hope.
Yeah.
Because
I like
he
that.
connected to that energy of the new life that was coming up.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
You know what?
That's
Now that
Yeah.
we're digging into depression, it's time to wrap up. Anything else you'd like to drop or cover or even just plug?
Well, I want to encourage people to ask their dream a question tonight. If they have no question, just ask, how can I be more loving to myself? That always gives good answers, and your own soul rejoices in you wanting to be more kind to you. And people can learn more about me on my website, machielklerk.com. You have to put it in the show notes somewhere.
Of course.
Or I will be teaching at Esselen in Big Sur in September. And there's a company I started out of a dream, youngplatform.com. I have, of course, the book. So there's all kinds of fun ways people can learn more about dreams and engaging with their dreams. And I want to thank the two of you for the engaging questions and the genuine curiosity that made this hour fly by. And
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
joining us.
seriously.
It's great.
I learned a lot, even though I didn't get to ask my question. So that, South Africa is known for the great whites. And so have you ever seen a great white while you're down there?
Jeni likes
fine.
sharks a lot.
It's fine. It's totally fine. I don't want to.
You can even swim with the great white, or at least caged, but you can go down and meet them. Huh? Yeah.
I want to so bad.
Yeah.
Someday. Someday. That's awesome. So yeah, please let us know if you do the dream experiment tonight or sometime over the next week.
Oh, yeah.
And we can forward any sort of stories that we hear if they're appropriate to forward. So we'll put that caveat in there.
Weird way to say that.
Yeah, well.
So again, thank you for joining us. Everybody else, don't forget to find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and the Paranormal 60 Network. Like, comment, subscribe, and check out our merch on our website, monstersloungepodcast.com. Send us an email or comment about your dream tonight. We love hearing from people, so until next time, thanks for visiting the Monsters Lounge. Goodbye.
Goodbye.